There used to be a time that celebrities wouldn't go near video games, as they were seen as something of a kiss of death for their career. Now the industry is awash with famous people practically falling over each other for the chance to lend their dulcet tones to the next $1 million game. We've already done a list on this channel about stars who provided killer turns in a voice booth, but there were far too many examples for just one countdown. So today, we're back with 10 more times some of our favourite stars with a big and small screen traded the luxury of Hollywood for the sweaty world of video games. Like last time, we've tried to avoid obvious answers where possible, so everyone shouting about Idris Elba in Cyberpunk or Bruce Campbell in Spider-Man 2 can sit down now.
Well, sequel time already, huh? Welcome back, I guess. I'm sure you miss me more than I missed you.
Instead, we're celebrating some lesser-known performances from some very well-known people, all of whom helps legitimize their games in the eyes of grumpy cynics everywhere. Cheers, guys! I'm Ashton from TripleJump, and here are 10 more amazing video game performances by famous actors. Number 10, Neil Patrick Harris, Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions. Neil Patrick Harris, or NPH for short, or just N for even shorter, is many things to many people. He's an actor, a singer, a magician, but did you know that he was once a friendly neighborhood superhero? Harris provided the voice for Peter Parker for the short-lived Spider-Man The New Animated Adventures in 2003. Though the show only lasted one season, NPH was once again able to don the famous suit in the 2010 video game Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions.
Madam Web? As if this night wasn't strange enough already.
His version of the web slinger is fun and quick-witted, firing off sassy one-liners whilst tying villains in knots. Though Spider-Man is definitely not meant to be cool, NPH walks the line between dorky teenager and action man perfectly, which helps players immerse themselves in the game. Although he never uttered the words "Hey everyone" or "Pizza time," so he's clearly rubbish. Alongside the Barney Stinson actor, several other voice artists from different Spider-Man cartoons also reprised their roles in Shattered Dimensions. There's Christopher Daniels Barnes as Spider-Noir, Dan Gilbertson as Spider-Man 2099, and Josh Keaton as Ultimate Spider-Man. Wait a second, this is just the Spider-Verse movies in game form. I mean, they've even got Spider-Ham. I think I've uncovered a conspiracy here. Number 9, John Goodman, Rage. If you're a fan of Monsters Inc., which, let's face it, you should be, then you've probably got a special place in your heart for John Goodman, the voice of Sully. As well as lending his pipes to the Big Blue Monster, Goodman is also known for his roles in The Big Lebowski, 10 Cloverfield Lane, and B-Movie. Okay, maybe he's not known for the last one, but I just wanted to remind everyone that John Goodman, an Emmy and Golden Globe winner, was in B-Movie. He was also in 2011's Rage, a first-person shooter developed by Doom and Quake bigwigs id Software, in which he voices Dan Hager, a survivor of a massive asteroid strike that has turned the world into a wasteland. Hager rescues a player from bandits right at the start of the game, before filling them in on their predicament.
You know, Ark survivors are worth a lot of money to whoever hands them over to the authority.
Goodman balances Hager's role as an informant and a leader perfectly, treating the situation with appropriate drama whilst also keeping his cool. Though he's only in the game very briefly, Goodman's presence brings a level of quality to Rage, and reassures the player that this apocalyptic hellscape might just be okay. Number 8, Linda Hunt, God of War series. Chances are you'll know Linda Hunt from one of two roles, as Billy Kwan in The Year of Living Dangerously, for which she won an Oscar, or as Hetty, the badass boss of NCIS Los Angeles. Very different demographics there, I know. Gamers might be more familiar with her voice, however, as Hunt played the character of Gaia in 6 God of War titles between 2005 and 2013.
I am the Titan Gaia, ever-present Mother of Earth.
That's right, she was part of the series before its big makeover. What a hipster. As the mother of the Titans, Gaia plays a huge role in Kratos' never-ending battle with the gods of Olympus. She is depicted as a gargantuan woman made out of the earth itself, which is ironic because in real life, Hunt is 4'9". Nevertheless, she brings some serious gravitas to the role, effortlessly embodying one of the most ancient and powerful beings in a world full of gods and monsters. Hunt also serves as the narrator of the stories, guiding players through the plot with her husky, authoritative tones. Honestly, we're not sure why she wasn't brought back for the reboots. Oh, Gaia was killed by Kratos in God of War 3. never mind then. Number 7, Sam Worthington, Call of Duty Black Ops. There was a time where you couldn't move for films starring Australian actor Sam Worthington, who's made appearances in Avatar, Terminator Salvation and Clash of the Titans, which were all released within the space of 2 years. Then he basically fell off the face of the earth until the Avatar sequel in 2022. Somebody clearly forgot to unplug him from his magical space tree. This time period also coincided with Worthington's first foray into video game voice acting, as Alex Mason in the first Call of Duty Black Ops game from 2010.
Where's the broadcast station?
Don't know what you're talking about.
The numbers, Mason. What do they mean? Where are they broadcast?
I don't know anything about any numbers.
As the main protagonist, Mason is who players control on their various covert missions in places like Cuba, Vietnam, China, and Canada. Why does he go there? Do they even have soldiers in Canada? Mason could easily have been just another bland jarhead for players to point at enemies, but Worthington did a great job in keeping him interesting. Though far from the deepest character in gaming history, Mason is worth getting invested in, which is good because players are stuck with him for 13 in-game years. Worthington returned for 2 more Black Ops games before presumably signing a contract tying him to the Avatar franchise for the next half-century. Number 6, Burt Reynolds, Saints Row III. Legendary Hollywood star Burt Reynolds is an anomaly on this list, as he's not only the sole entrant to regularly sport a mustache, but he's also the only person to feature for playing himself. Reynolds, famous for his roles in The Longest Yard, Smokey and the Bandit, and Boogie Nights, turns up in Saints Row III as the mayor of Steelport City. When a character expresses surprise that he's in such a position of power, the star replies,
"Who else could keep this town running?"
which is awesome. Before celebrities making fun of themselves was as commonplace as it is now, Reynolds played up to his own image as a macho Lothario. He fits in perfectly with the utterly bonkers world of the Saints Row series, to the point where you have to remind yourself that he's a real person, not a character invented purely for the game. Sadly, in one version of the story, Reynolds dies towards the end of the game. Should the player choose to sacrifice him for their own good? Why anyone would choose to sacrifice this magnificent specimen is a mystery, but there is the option if you are so inclined. Number 5, Steve Carell, Outlaw Golf and Outlaw Volleyball. Before he was an incompetent office manager, a child-friendly supervillain, or a 40-year-old virgin, a non-movie star Steve Carell paid the bills by lending his voice to 2 sports games in the early 2000s. Outlaw Golf and Outlaw Volleyball are golf and volleyball games respectively, but if they were made by a group of randy teenagers in the 90s. Players take turns hitting a little white egg around a field, or smashing inflatables into each other's faces, but the characters are strippers, stoners and bikers, as opposed to the usual professional athletes. Not satisfied with your caddy's performance, simply cash in a beating token and bludgeon them half to death to feel better about yourself. I don't think they do that in real golf, or at least not while it's being televised. All of Carell's trademark mannerisms are on display in his turn as commentator. His boundless enthusiasm, his tendency to yell, and his expert comic timing.
Feared for his mean, nasty demeanor, Killer Miller is actually a pretty nice guy at heart. I swear I'd say that even if he didn't know where I live.
Although some of the humour has aged about as well as an unrefrigerated ham sandwich, Carell's performance is still great, a sign of the very bright things to come in his future. Fingers crossed, these games never come back to haunt him in some way. Number 4, Kelly Hu, Mortal Kombat X and 11. Who? Yes! Kelly Hu! Sorry, that was a cheap joke, and I can do better, I promise. Beginning her career as a model and TV soap opera star, Kelly Hu broke the big time with appearances in films like The Scorpion King and X-Men 2. She also appeared in shows The Vampire Diaries, Arrow, and most importantly of all, Phineas and Ferb. Finally, a touch of class on this list. In recent years, Hu has made multiple appearances in the Mortal Kombat series, beginning with 2015's Mortal Kombat X, and it is X and not 10 according to the devs. No Roman numerals here, thank you very much. She voices Frost, Sindel, and new character Devora, a creepy bug lady with a robotic voice who there is definitely weird fan art of.
This one is Hunter. You are hunted.
when you're 10 major games into a series, it can be hard to introduce a new character without facing severe backlash. It's testament to Who's performance that Devora not only won fans in this game, but was also brought back for MK11, with Who asked to reprise her role. Devora is an unconventional and highly disturbing addition to the Mortal Kombat roster, but I mean that in the best way possible. Number 3, Haley Joel Osment, the Kingdom Hearts series. If a movie or a TV show needed a child character in the late 90s, early 2000s, chances are the casting director gave Haley Joel Osment a call, or more accurately, they called his mum. Whether as Forrest Gump Jr., the titular artificial intelligence in Steven Spielberg's AI, or as the I See Dead People kid in The Sixth Sense, spoilers, Haley Joel Osment's boyish face was everywhere for a time, and he's still in high demand to this day, even though he's not quite as cute anymore. As a voice actor in video games, his biggest accomplishment is easily that he plays Sora, the hero of the Kingdom Hearts franchise.
No, this huge black thing swallowed me up. I couldn't breathe, Ow!
That, and he was in an NBA game once, though I'm assuming not as one of the players. From the original game in 2002 to its most recent sequel in 2019, Osment has portrayed the key-wielding hero alongside famous faces from Final Fantasy and the world of Disney. In amongst all of these stars, Sora has become a gaming icon in his own right, which goes to show just how good Osment is in the voice booth. He out-acted Goofy, for crying out loud. How often can people say that? Number 2, Rosario Dawson, Dishonored 2. Weirdly enough, Ahsoka star Rosario Dawson has also been in an NBA 2K game as a non-basketball person. Is this a clause written into every celebrity's contract or something? Anyway, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the acclaimed actor's turn as the battle-scarred ship's captain, Megan Foster, in Arcane Studios' 2016 action-adventure title, Dishonored 2. Foster is a character with a long and complicated past, one that would take far too long to explain, but her intricate backstory is deftly handled by the highly talented Dawson, who also lent her voice to games like Dying Light 2 Stay Human and the 2016 Ratchet & Clank remake. She plays Foster with a mixture of stoicism, melancholy and regret, making her far more than just the person who owns the hub area.
My name's Megan Foster. I work with an old ally of yours, Anton Sokolov.
Dishonored 2 is still regarded as a triumph in gaming, with its non-linear narrative and stealth-based gameplay often coming in for praise. It helps that the rest of the voice cast was also stellar, involving the likes of Vincent D'Onofrio, James Hector, and Pedro Pascal. Hey! Ahsoka and Mando were in a game together. No sign of Baby Yoda though, I'm afraid. And number 1, Matthew Perry, Fallout New Vegas. Though he will always be best known as 1/6 of the show Friends to millions of gamers around the world, the late, great Matthew Perry came into their lives as the voice of Benny in Fallout New Vegas. A corrupt casino owner, Benny leaves the player character for dead after shooting them at the start of the game, only for them to survive and hunt him down. Could they be after any more revenge? On the surface, Benny seems little more than a dweeb with an obsession for old gangster movies, but as the game progresses, you find out that he's more dangerous than you could possibly have imagined. Perry brings the character's disarming menace to life beautifully, to the point where he's still one of the main talking points of the game all these years later.
Time to cash out.
Will you get it over with?
Maybe cons kill people without looking them in the face. But I ain't a fink. Dig?
This was the star's one and only video game voice role, which is a shame on one level, but it does make this outstanding turn even more special. When the news broke of Perry's death in October 2023, many gamers returned to New Vegas to pay tribute to the beloved actor, a fitting send-off for a true great.